Greetings and welcome to this week's Golf Betting Show. It's Steve Babbott here from Golf Betting System. We are covering the 2017 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. Welcome to you. If you're new to the show, do not hesitate to press the subscribe button if you are watching this on YouTube. The Golf Betting Show covers each and every week the PGA Tour, European Tour and the four major championships of each year. Very, very exciting. Always at the top of the show, I highlight the very best bookmaker promotion of that particular week. I've placed links through to the two bookmakers I'm about to mention below the screen here on YouTube. Firstly, Sky Bet. They've broken all records this week. They have gone a genuine 10 places each way. 10 places each way, that's right. A fifth the odds at the 2017 Open Championship. Get a player in the top 10, you will get an each way payout. I have placed a link below the screen here to their new customer deal, which is a bet 5, get £20 or €20 free bet. Okay, now that's genuine. It's also for both existing customers, so if you've already got a Sky Bet account, fill your boots, and new customers. So it's not one of these new customer only deals. If you haven't got a Sky Bet account, the link below the screen here gets you a £20 or €20 free bet. A genuine 10 places each way with Sky Bet. That's a record-breaking deal. We've never seen that in any golf tournament, any major championship before. On top of that, we have a number of firms also going 8 places each way. If your bookmaker is playing you 6 places this week, walk away. It's as simple as that. It's totally uncompetitive these days. 8 places each way available at Coral, available at Bet365. I've put a link through the screen to Bet365 who've got some exceptional prices this week. 8 places each way at 50 odds. That's the first time that Bet365 have done that at the Open Championship. And I'm also highlighting Paddy Power and Betfair Sportsbook. Betfair Sportsbook, 8 places each way, a 50 odds. And I've been barking on about this for plenty of weeks now. They are the same company now as Paddy Power. So if you have a Paddy Power account but not a Betfair Sportsbook account, you can access a Bet 10, get £30 free bet if you are in the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland. However, there is also a second option where you can have a £100 welcome bonus for UK residents only. So those deals, again, beneath the screen, a £100 welcome bonus with Betfair Sportsbook and also a Bet 10, get 30 free bet if you are in the United Kingdom or the Republic of Ireland. So you've got 2 choices with Betfair Sportsbook. I've made a note of this. They are best or equal price right now. I'm recording this Monday afternoon on the company's playing 8 places on Dustin Johnson, Jon Rahm, Ricky Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, Tommy Fleetwood, Adam Scott, Jason Day, Paul Casey, Phil Mickelson. So Betfair Sportsbook, great offer, 8 places each way, 50 odds, and they're paying some fantastic market-beating prices across the 8 places each way bookmakers. Okay, now I always say this at the Open Championship. I do not have the honour at the Open Championship. Our European Tour expert, Paul Williams, does. He has just finalised his 4 players for the 2017 Open Championship. I have the honour on Tuesday of releasing our triple digit, our long shot tips, which sometimes provide the winner here, Louis Oosthuizen, Zach Johnson. So Tuesday, tomorrow, we're actually going to release our long shot column that I'm putting together. I'll also take you through Paul Williams's predictor model for the Open Championship. Don't forget, if you're new to the Golf Betting Show, if you're new to Golf Betting System as a website, all of this information is completely free. Betting previews, loads of tournament stats, and our patented predictor model. So loads of stats. We have lots of variables online that you can play with free of charge, but we produce our own predictor model based upon what variables we think are going to be important this week. Greens and regulation, driving accuracy, is it going to be par 4 scoring, is it birdie averages, is it going to be avoiding bogeys, drop shots, sand saves, a course like this, got to be great out the bunkers, those kind of variables. So you can pull your own tailor-made predictor model together, but we've published our own predictor. This is Paul's view. 10, all of these prices are Sky Bet 10 places each way. So 10 is Rory McIlroy at 18 to 1. 9 is Jason Day at 30 to 1. 8 is Tommy Fleetwood at 22 to 1. 7 is Justin Rose at 18 to 1. 6 is Dustin Johnson at 14 to 1. 5 Hideki Matsuyama at 20 to 1. 4 Henrik Stenson, the defending champion, at 25 to 1. 3 Sergio Garcia, the Masters champion, at 16 to 1. 2 Jordan Spieth at 14 to 1. 1 Ricky Fowler 14 to 1. So 4 Fowler, Spieth and Garcia make up the top 3 of this week's 2017 Open Championship predictor model. Of course, come to Golf Betting System. You can read Paul's full preview, which I have put a link through to, and the predictor model beneath the screen on YouTube. So, just to recap, Sky Bet 10 places each way. Betfair Sportsbook, Paddy Power, Coral, Bet365, all gone 8 places each way at 50 odds. Now, the golf course itself, Royal Birkdale, Harrington won here in 2008. Martin Hawtrey, who pulls together a lot of these open rotor courses, did a lot of work before the 2008 renewal, but nothing of any real significance has been done since then. So we're looking at a very similar course from 2008 here in 2017. 7,156 yard, par 70. It's well known on the open rotor for its Art Deco clubhouse, but also the course. It's really widely appreciated by the players, this course. Framed in sand dunes, just outside of Southport, on the Lancashire coast there. It's a typical British links course. Beautiful sand dunes, some real deep pot bunkers, but, and you read anything from players, they say it's all in front of you. It's not tricked up, no blind tee shots. The fairways for an Open Championship course are fairly level. The approaches to greens are fairly level, so you don't get a lot of these crazy bounces. If you hit a good shot, you get rewarded. The greens themselves are fairly flat, and if you hit close shots, you will get rewarded with makeable putts. It's a very fair test of golf. It isn't tricked up. It isn't overly difficult as far as links courses are concerned, but as per every Open Championship, it all depends on the weather. Now, we've already seen a lot of social media content coming from the course. The course already looks pretty firm, pretty fast. However, excuse me, a bit of a cold. However, there is rain due definitely on Wednesday, which there could be thunder in there, so it might actually affect the practice. So there might not be some of the practice rounds may be actually called off on, or at least halted on Wednesday afternoon. But there's the weather forecast looks like there could be some rain in there, but the winds, there's going to be some serious winds. We're talking southwesterly or westerly, which is the prevailing wind here. It's the exact same wind that O'Meara faced in '99. When he won. It's the exact same wind that the field faced in 2008 when Harrington won. Prevailing wind, but it means, and this golf course, don't forget, it's a par 70, only 2 par 5s. You have to wait until the 15th for your first one, and that plays into this wind. So power, does it make a real difference this week? Probably not, it has to be said. But these look like particularly tricky conditions. Now, going back to Mark O'Meara in 1998, he won at level par, and Harrington won at 3 or 4 over. So, when the wind blows here, when conditions are tough, it's a tough golf course. So, of course, 2 weeks ago at the Irish Open, we saw Jon Rahm take the course apart. It was a bit trickier last week at the Scottish Open. This is going to be a proper, true Open Championship test this week. And when you look, there's lots of trends here on Paul's preview, but when you actually look at the skill sets that were required back in 2008, Harrington, Ian Poulter, Greg Norman and Henrik Stenson, who made up the top 3, the key statistic was scrambling, because I'll read this out to you. Harrington only hit 52.8% of greens, which was 30th. Ian Poulter was magnificent. He hit 59.7. This is the point. Even if you're the best ball striker in the world, you are going to be missing upwards of 35% of greens this week in all likelihood. 51.4 greens in regulation for Greg Norman, was 38th in that category, as was Henrik Stenson. But listen to the scrambling numbers. 13th, 26th, this is in the field, 3rd and 4th. So scrambling is going to be very, very important this week. But basically, grinding it out is going to be absolutely vital. There's also plenty of trends, as you would expect, the Open Championship. Dustin Johnson, the world number one, apart from Tiger Woods, hasn't won this since 2000. But hot form does really matter here. You do want players. Going back to Henrik Stenson last year, he'd finished 13th at the Scottish Open, but he'd won the outing before in Germany at the BMW International Open. Zach Johnson, when he won at St Andrews 2015, he was 110 to 1. He came in with form of, he was 3rd at the John Deere Classic. He'd been 5th in Texas, 6th at River Highlands, so he was playing some fantastic golf. Rory McIlroy had won at Wentworth in 2014, the year he won, at 18 to 1. Of course, Phil Mickelson in 2013 at Muirfield, he won the Scottish Open and then won the Open Championship the year after in 2013. Even Ernie Els back in 2012, when he was a 45 to 1 shot, had finished 7th at Wentworth and 9th at the US Open. If you're out of form, you're unlikely to find your form on such a brutal test as the Open Championship. It's fairly standard if you think it through. And there's that definite link with the Scottish Open, and Paul goes into this in real detail. I think the last 6 or 7 winners have all played the Scottish Open the week before. But of course, that could change this year, and you might want to broaden that out because they played the Irish Open on a links golf course and the Scottish Open as well on a links golf course. So a lot of players, instead of playing the Scottish Open the week before, took the option of playing the Irish Open and then preparing themselves at the at Royal Birkdale, of course, over the weekend leading into this week. So let me take you through Paul's 4 tips for the week. Let's start with the favourite. No, I'm going to work in reverse order. Why not? A half a point each way at 70 to 1 with Sky Bet. And as Paul says here, you could get 80 to 1 elsewhere, but he's taking 70 to 1 with Sky Bet, of course, because he's guaranteeing himself 10 places each way. So Brandt Snedeker, half point each way at 70 to 1 with Sky Bet. In decent nick, top 10 at the US Open. He's got history across Augusta, which links in well here. But he loves playing by the coast. He's got a top 10 results at the Open Championship, back as 175 to 1 shot in 2012. He equalled the record with 130 strokes for the first 2 rounds that particular year. And you just know with Snedeker, he's one of these all-round players and one of these rare Americans that won't mind bad weather conditions. If you cast your mind back a couple of years, Torrey Pines, I think it was last year, 2016, in that absolutely brutal wind and rain at the end of the tournament on the Sunday, they had to halt it halfway through. He shot that incredible 69 3-under, which was that wasn't a 3-under round, that was a 13-under round, the Skillet took. He's also won at Pebble Beach, and that's one thing that I've noticed here, or noted about Pebble Beach. If you look at Mark O'Meara had won 6 times at Pebble Beach on the PGA Tour. So Snedeker's got 2 wins at Pebble Beach. Jordan Spieth and they'll want to win there, so that can't be bad. At the end of the day, Snedeker is playing some strong golf, and at 70 to 1 for a top 10 finish of 50 odds. Paul is going half a point each way on Brandt Snedeker. Next up, the South African who I tipped up for the US Open, a player that absolutely loves links golf. It's Brandon Grace, a point each way at 45 to 1 with Sky Bet, 10 places each way. You could grab 50 to 1, 8 places, or 55 to 1, 6 places, but Paul's taking the 45 to 1 for a top 10 each way proposition with Sky Bet. Grace loves playing by the sea. He won the Alfred Dunhill Links. He's got 2 wins at his host course at Fancourt Links down in South Africa. And if you look at his major championship performances, of course, he was 3rd at Chambers Bay, which was by the sea in 2015. He was also, where did he finish at Whistling Straits? He was in the top, he was 4th at Whistling Straits, which again is a course by that massive inland lake over in Wisconsin. Grace playing some great stuff. The putter started to warm last week at the Scottish Open, and with that kind of background and the fact that we know that he performed brilliantly with sea salt in the nostrils, you can see Grace having a great week. 45-1, 10 places each way, 50 odds with Sky Bet. Okay, the two shorter price bets this week for Paul are Justin Rose, 2 points each way, 22-1 with Betfred. Betfred are playing 6 places each way, a quarter the odds. Rose, been it, major champion 2013 US Open. He was brilliant here in 1998 as a amateur, where he finished in 4th spot. Really played well at the Scottish Open as well. Close to the top of greens in regulation that particular week, and he scrambled really, really well at Port Stewart. So we can see Rose going close at 22-1. And it's interesting with Mark O'Meara back in 98 and also Padraig Harrington in 2008. O'Meara won the Masters and Harrington was in the top 5 at Augusta that particular year. Justin Rose, of course, when I tipped him up at the Masters earlier in April, could have won that tournament so easily, but finished second to Sergio Garcia. But you just get the feeling now, especially with that great performance at the Irish Open 2 weeks ago, just freewheeled into the top 5. Rose has got a big shout this week. And finally, you probably won't be surprised, but this guy is playing some consistent golf, and you just know that of the major championship rota, the Open Championship suits him down to the ground. Ricky Fowler, 2.5 points each way at 16-1 with Coral, 8 places each way at 50 odds on Fowler. Great Open Championship record. Again, he's playing well in majors this year. Was contending seriously at Augusta before he really hit the buffers in the final round. Played well at the US Open, but that course was probably just a smidge too long for him. But Fowler, again, freewheeled beautifully last week at the Scottish Open. He has history over here. He won the 2015 Scottish Open. And he just loves links golf, loves tough conditions, a great wind player. So no fear with Ricky Fowler with the weather forecast. Ricky Fowler, 2.5 points each way at 16-1 with Coral. Those are Paul Williams' tips for this 2017 Open Championship. Fowler, Rose, Brandon Grace and Brand Snedeker. All of the links through to our predictor model, the betting preview, the predictor model and the 2017 Golf Betting System Open Championship podcast are available below the screen here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave your comments. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching and enjoy the Open Championship.